The galaxy had seen many wars, but this war was different. Alien armadas filled the dark skies, their massive warships blocking entire star systems. They came together under one purpose: to crush Earth once and for all. For centuries, aliens thought of humans as weak, fragile, and unworthy of the stars. Now they wanted to erase the blue planet before humans could rise again. On Earth, people lived in fear. News spread across cities. Alien fleets had destroyed colonies, trade routes, and even defense stations. Everyone asked the same question: how will we survive this? Even Earth Command, the highest defense authority, had no answer. They had old warships, a few scattered fleets, but nothing compared to the alien armadas that filled space like endless waves. Inside the main defense headquarters in New Geneva, a young officer named Daniel sat at his console. He was not a famous soldier, nor a commander. He was just a data officer assigned to sort through ancient archives. But sometimes the smallest duty hides the biggest secret. Daniel found himself staring at a file sealed for centuries. The file name read, Directive 7. Its cover was strange, old Earth symbols, warning signs, and a single line of text. Only in the darkest hour. Daniel frowned. "What is this?" he whispered. He tried to open the file, but the system demanded multiple codes. Most of those codes were missing, lost in history. Still, something in the file pulsed, like it was waiting to be unlocked. The warning repeated inside his mind, only in the darkest hour. Meanwhile, alien ships crossed Neptune's orbit, their weapons charged with glowing red energy. The alien commander of the fleet, Lord Koresh, gave the order: advance to Earth, crush them without mercy. His soldiers roared with laughter. To them, Earth was already a graveyard waiting to be burned. Back on Earth, alarms rang inside headquarters. "Orders! Enemy fleets entering solar system," shouted one officer. Everyone panicked. Earth's defenses had no chance against such power. Daniel sat frozen at his console, the sealed file still glowing on his screen. It felt alive, like it was calling to him. His hands trembled, but he entered a manual override code. The screen flickered, then opened. A deep voice filled the command center. It was not human, not alien. It was something ancient. "Directive 7 activated," the voice said. "Darkest hour confirmed." The lights dimmed, the ground shook, and suddenly, the entire planet seemed to awaken. Hidden deep under Earth's crust, enormous machines stirred for the first time in thousands of years. Across the solar system, strange satellites powered up, releasing waves of unknown energy. At first, commanders thought it was a malfunction, but then readings showed massive power levels, far beyond anything humans had ever built. The officers stared at Daniel, shocked. "What did you do?" one demanded. Daniel's voice cracked. I unlocked something old." Alien fleets detected the energy surge instantly. Lord Koresh sneered. "Pathetic humans are trying to scare us with toys," he said. "Fire on Earth, show them their weakness." Thousands of alien cannons lit the darkness, preparing to rain destruction. But before they fired, the ancient satellites shifted. They locked onto every alien ship with perfect precision. A red warning flashed across alien consoles. The soldiers shouted, confused. "This cannot be. They have weapons older than the stars." In the command center, Daniel's console displayed new words. "Defense protocol, engage," the voice repeated again, louder this time, echoing across Earth and space. "Defense protocol, engage." Everyone froze. For a moment, it felt like even the stars went silent. Daniel swallowed hard. He had no idea what he had unleashed, The one thing was clear. The forgotten directive was not just a file. It was Earth's last defense, hidden by ancestors long gone. And now, it was awake. The officers stared at the holographic display as energy spikes rose higher and higher. The alien fleets, once so confident, now hesitated. Something ancient, something beyond their understanding, was rising from the heart of Earth. Daniel whispered, "Please, don't destroy us too." The ground trembled harder, lights flashed in orbit, and the final message appeared on Daniel's screen. "Target, alien armada, engage." And then, with a sound like thunder tearing through the void, the first beam of ancient power fired. The void of space shook as the first ancient beam cut across the alien sky. A single shot split through 10 massive warships, slicing their hulls open like paper. Explosions rippled across the darkness, sending fire and debris scattering. The aliens screamed in disbelief, their confidence collapsing in seconds. Lord Koresh slammed his fist against the control chair, his voice a roar. Impossible. No species on this planet could build such weapons. But this was no weapon built by modern humans. It was something far older, something buried deep in Earth long before Koresh's empire was born. Satellites hidden for thousands of years now glowed like red stars, orbiting silently. Their surfaces cracked open, revealing strange cores of light. They rotated slowly, one after another, forming a vast network around the solar system. Every alien ship caught in their path was locked, scanned, and marked. Inside Earth Command, alarms screamed louder than ever. The holographic map filled with thousands of red lines, targets locked. Officers looked at Daniel with fear and awe. "Did you do this?" one whispered. Daniel's lips trembled. "No, it feels like it was waiting for us." The deep ancient voice returned, echoing like thunder through every frequency. Defense Protocol Stage 2, Complete Annihilation Mode. The words sent chills across every human and alien soul. Stags. E2 meant there were more stages still hidden, and no one knew how far it would go. Alien fleets opened fire in desperation. Thousands of plasma cannons unleashed storms of burning energy. The skies above Earth filled with light, the vacuum glowing with death. But before a single shot could land, the Directive activated another hidden defense. Massive shields erupted from Earth's orbit, transparent, yet indestructible. The alien blasts scattered like sparks against a hurricane. Koresh's soldiers gasped in horror. Their planet, it is untouchable. On Earth's surface, people watched the skies. Some cried, some prayed, some shouted with hope. For the first time, they saw alien ships burning instead of human cities. But fear still gripped them. They did not know if the Directive truly served them, or if it served something else. Daniel leaned forward as new messages appeared on his screen. Primary targets eliminated. Secondary protocols unlocking. His chest tightened. "What secondary protocols?" he whispered. The answer came quickly. Earth satellites, stations, even old human warships were suddenly scanned and locked as well. Officers shouted in panic. "It's targeting us too." Daniel's heart froze. The Directive was not just a defense against aliens. It was a judgment system, one that saw everything, friend and enemy alike, as potential threats. "Defense cannot be selective," the voice boomed. "Defense requires purity." The command center erupted into chaos. Some officers wanted to shut it down, others begged to let it continue. Every second, more alien ships were destroyed, torn apart like fragile toys. But at the same time, human systems were falling under its gaze. The Directive did not care who they were. It cared only for survival. Lord Koresh, desperate and enraged, ordered a retreat. "Pull the fleet back. This world is cursed," he shouted, but it was too late. Every escape corridor lit up with energy beams, trapping the armada inside a cage of light. Ships collided, soldiers screamed, commanders lost control. One by one, Koresh's mighty ships shattered into burning pieces, and still, the Directive whispered, "Defense protocol advancing. Stage 3 unlocked." Daniel felt his chest go cold. If Stage 2 was this powerful, what horrors would Stage 3 bring? He stared at the glowing screens, knowing he had awakened something that was never meant to be touched. Outside, the last of the alien fleet burned in silence, but deep in space, far beyond Neptune, a new signal began to stir. Unknown ships blinked into existence, massive, ancient, and carrying the same signature as the Directive itself. Daniel whispered to himself, "Dear God, what have we done?" Space was burning. The alien fleets that once covered the solar system now floated in ruins. Gigantic warships split in half, smaller vessels torn apart, drifting like dead bones in the void. For the first time in galactic history, Earth had destroyed an entire armada without lifting a single modern weapon, but victory did not feel like victory. Inside Earth Command, silence gripped the officers. Screens showed endless wreckage, glowing fire across the black horizon. Humans cheered in the streets, thinking the war was over. But Daniel knew better. The Directive was not finished. It had only begun. The deep voice echoed again, calm, yet merciless. Stage 3. Purge protocol initiated. Everyone froze. "What does purge mean?" an officer shouted. Daniel's eyes widened. "It means it will not stop at the aliens." Suddenly, red warning signs filled the command screens. Human satellites, communication stations, even orbiting science labs were being marked as impure. Laser grids began targeting them one after another. A brilliant flash erupted in orbit as an old research station exploded into dust. Humans screamed in horror. Earth's own defenses were turning against them. Lord Koresh's flagship, broken but still alive, tried to flee through the wreckage. His remaining ships formed a desperate shield around him, but the Directive was merciless. Energy beams sliced through them like knives. The flagship trembled as its engines failed. Koresh roared in rage. "This is not human power. This is something older, something cursed." On Earth, Daniel searched through the unlocked files. Lines of strange code scrolled across his screen, mixed with ancient Earth symbols. He realized the Directive had been created, not by modern humans, but by a civilization long erased. A people older than Earth's current nations, older than recorded history. They had prepared for a day when the galaxy itself would turn against humanity, but they had not trusted future humans. They had trusted only their own machines. Another officer grabbed Daniel by the collar. "Shut it down before it kills us all," he shouted. Daniel pushed him away. "I don't know how, it's too advanced." The screen flickered with new text. "Identifying all intelligent life forms within range. Evaluating survival threat." Fear spread through the room. If the Directive judged humanity unworthy, it might wipe them out too. The command center shook as another wave of explosions lit up the skies. But this time, the blasts were not alien. They were human satellites, vanishing one by one. The Directive was cleansing the system. Anything it did not trust was destroyed. Then something even stranger happened. Beyond Neptune, in the dark edge of the system, massive shapes appeared. At first, they looked like asteroids drifting silently, but then lights flickered across their surfaces, forming windows, engines, weapons. They were ships, enormous ships that dwarfed even the alien armadas. Their hulls carried the same ancient symbols as the Directive, glowing red against the black void. Gasps filled Earth Command. Daniel whispered, "Those are not alien Is." The officers turned to him, pale with fear. "Then who are they?" one asked. Daniel's voice trembled. "They are human, or at least they used to be." The new fleet transmitted a single signal across all channels. A voice, cold and commanding, echoed across space and time. "Directive complete. We have returned." The officers stared at one another, confused and horrified. "Returned," someone whispered. "From where?" The giant ships moved closer, their weapons charged but not yet fired. One of them broadcast an image, humanoid figures standing tall, dressed in armor unlike anything modern humans had ever seen. Their eyes glowed with strange light, their faces both human and inhuman. And then the voice spoke again. "We are the first Earthborn, the true heirs of this planet. The Directive is ours, and your time has ended." Daniel's chest turned cold. The aliens had not been the real enemy. The real danger was far older. Earth's own forgotten ancestors had returned, and they had come not as saviors but as rulers. The skies of the solar system glowed with the wreckage of alien fleets, yet no one on Earth felt safe. For beyond Neptune, the massive ancient ships had arrived, silent but terrifying. They moved with precision, their weapons glowing, their presence suffocating. Every human soldier felt it deep in their bones. This was not rescue, this was judgment. Inside Earth Command, Daniel stared at the screen. The ancient fleet's signal repeated again, calm but merciless. "We are the first Earthborn, your creators, your guardians, and your judges." The room fell silent, every officer frozen in fear. "Guardians," one whispered, "or executioners." The holographic display shifted. An image appeared, tall figures in dark silver armor, faces sharp, eyes glowing with cold fire. They looked human, yet not. Their skin carried strange marks, symbols burned into their flesh like living codes. They stood with authority, as if they had ruled the galaxy long before any modern nation even learned to write. Daniel leaned closer, his voice low. They're not aliens, they're us or what we used to be. The commander shook his head. No, they're monsters, wearing human skin. The lead figure on the screen spoke again. We left this world long ago, not because we were weak, but because we saw the future. We created the Directive to protect Earth, but also to control it, for humans cannot be trusted with freedom. Murmurs filled the command room. Some officers whispered in anger, some in despair. They realized the Directive was never only for alien invasions, it was also designed to judge humanity itself. Outside, the ancient ships powered their weapons. The energy fields rippled like storms across space. Alien survivors who had tried to flee were caught and burned instantly. The first Earthborn showed no mercy. Their mission was not peace, it was dominance. Daniel's console flashed with new data. The Directive was now fully linked to the ancient fleet. It was no longer a defense system. It was a chain of command, and the humans of Earth were at the bottom. Defense protocol updated, the voice announced. Earth status, subject race. The officers erupted in outrage. We are not their slaves, one shouted. We beat the aliens, we can beat them too, another cried. But deep inside, fear gnawed at their hope. If modern humans had struggled against alien fleets, how could they fight these giants of the past? Daniel scrolled deeper into the files, desperate for answers. He found fragments of old records, memories from the ancient civilization. They had ruled vast empires stretching across the stars. But something had destroyed them, something so terrible they had abandoned Earth. Before leaving, they locked away the Directive to one day return, not to save, but to reclaim. The command center shook violently as the ancient fleet moved closer. The first Earthborn broadcasted one final ultimatum. Kneel, and you will live under our rule. Resist, and you will be erased. Every screen across Earth displayed their symbol, an ancient emblem of power. Civilians gasped, some fell to their knees, others shouted in rebellion. The world itself was divided. Daniel's heart raced. He had unlocked the Directive, and now he feared he had doomed them all. But somewhere deep inside, he also felt a spark of defiance. We are not their children anymore, he whispered to himself. We are something new. The ancient ships formed into battle formation, weapons humming like storms ready to strike. The Directive's voice thundered again. Final decision required, submit or perish. The officers turned to Daniel, their faces pale, their eyes desperate. What do we do, they asked. Daniel looked at the burning skies, at the endless wreckage of alien fleets, and then at the rising power of the ancients. He knew one thing for certain. Earth's greatest battle had not yet begun. The world trembled under the shadow of the ancient fleet. Every news channel, every broadcast, every device now showed the same message from the first Earthborn. Kneel or perish. Civilians across Earth were divided. Some begged to surrender, believing the ancients were gods returned. Others shouted for resistance, swearing humanity would never bow again. Fear spread like fire, and with fear came betrayal. Inside Earth Command, the atmosphere was tense. Officers argued, voices rising, hands slamming against consoles. We cannot fight them. Look at their ships, one shouted. They will enslave us all if we surrender, another fired back. The commander tried to restore order, but unity was gone. The Directive had not only brought enemies, it had torn humanity apart from within. Daniel watched in silence, his mind racing. He could feel the Directive's presence inside every system. It was alive, feeding on conflict, waiting for the final choice. He scrolled deeper into the hidden files, searching for answers. One chilling line appeared. Purity must be restored, even if humanity is erased. His stomach tightened. The Directive was not loyal to Earth. It was loyal only to the will of the ancients. Then, the betrayal came. A senior officer named Colonel Vera slipped away from the command floor, her eyes cold, her movements sharp. She entered a private chamber and activated a secret channel. A shadowy figure appeared on the holoscreen. The envoy of the first Earthborn, Vera knelt before the image. I am ready to serve, she whispered. The people are weak, the commanders divided. Give me power, and I will deliver Earth to you. The envoy's voice was like ice. Loyalty will be rewarded. Betray your kind, and you will rise among us. Vera bowed, her lips curling into a cruel smile. She returned to the command floor carrying hidden codes stolen from Earth's defense network. Her plan was clear: disable what little resistance Earth still had and hand control to the ancients. Meanwhile, alien survivors drifted in the darkness, their fleets shattered, their commanders dead, yet a few warlords still clung to life. One intercepted the signals of betrayal. The alien warlord snarled, "If humans betray humans, perhaps we can use this chaos to strike back." Even broken, the enemies of Earth were plotting their revenge. In the command center, Daniel suddenly noticed a strange flicker across his console. Unauthorized transmissions were leaking into the Directive. Someone inside their own ranks was helping the ancients. "Who is it?" he whispered, scanning the codes. When the name appeared, his blood ran cold. Colonel Vira, one of their most trusted officers. He turned to the commander, voice shaking. "Sir, she's betraying us. She's giving them our systems." But before he could finish, the lights went out. The entire command room plunged into darkness. The Directive's voice thundered across the silence. "Internal corruption detected. Purging begins." Screens lit up again, but this time not with human data. They showed the symbol of the first Earthborn, glowing bright and merciless. Every system, every weapon, every communication line now belonged to them. Colonel Vera stepped forward, her face hard with determination. "Your fight is over. We are nothing without them," she declared. "Better to kneel and survive than resist and die." The commander drew his sidearm, rage in his eyes. "You traitor," he spat. But before he could act, the Directive sealed the chamber with energy barriers. The humans were trapped in their own fortress, cut off from their fleets. Outside, the ancient ships moved closer, their weapons humming with deadly power. Daniel clenched his fists. He had unleashed the Directive. He had seen it consume alien armadas. But now he realized the true war was not out there. The true war was within, between those who would fight for freedom and those who would kneel for survival. And as the ground shook and the skies filled with fire, Daniel whispered, "This is not just a war for Earth. This is a war for what it means to be human." The solar system held its breath. Alien armadas were gone, their wreckage burning silently in the void, but something far more terrifying had arrived. The first Earthborn, the forgotten ancestors of humanity, now filled the skies with their colossal fleet. Their ships moved like living mountains, ancient symbols glowing across their hulls, weapons pulsed with energy older than the galaxies themselves. Inside Earth Command, panic spread like fire. Colonel Vera stood proudly at the center, her betrayal exposed but unshaken. "They are the rightful rulers," she declared. "Resist and we will all be ashes, submit and we will live." The commander's fists shook, his voice trembling with fury. "We will never kneel to ghosts of the past." The Directive's voice thundered across every screen. Final judgment initiated. Holograms filled the command room, showing the faces of the first Earthborn. Their eyes burned. With cold light, their voices carried authority that made the walls tremble. "We are the builders of the Directive," they said. "We are the true heirs of Earth, and you, the broken children, will obey." Daniel stared at the images, his heart racing. These were humans, yet not. Their armor glistened with strange alloys, their skin marked with codes. They were a fusion of flesh and machine, evolution and technology bound together. They had left Earth long before recorded history, and now they had returned not to guide, but to rule. The civilians of Earth watched the broadcast in terror. Some fell to their knees, whispering prayers to the ancient lords. Others rioted in the streets, shouting that Earth belonged to the living, not the dead. The planet itself seemed to split in two, between those who would bow and those who would fight. Then the ancient fleet unleashed its power. Massive beams of energy fired into empty space, not at Earth but across distant stars. Entire moons cracked apart. Gas giants trembled. Shockwaves rolled like storms. It was not an attack. It was a demonstration, a warning of what they could do. One officer whispered in horror, "If they turn those weapons on us, Earth will vanish in seconds." Daniel's console flickered with a new message. Directive link established. Choose representative. His breath caught. The system had chosen him, the one who had unlocked it. He was now the bridge between modern humans and the first Earthborn. The hologram of the ancients turned their gaze upon him. "You awakened us. You carry our command. Now speak. Will you kneel to your ancestors, or will you be judged as enemies?" The room fell silent. All eyes turned to Daniel. The commander whispered fiercely, "Don't give in. We stand free or we die free." But Colonel Vera hissed, "Do it. Kneel, or you will bring doom upon us all." Daniel's heart pounded like thunder. One choice could save billions, or doom them all. Outside, the ancient fleet moved closer, their weapons locked on Earth, their engines shaking the void. Their weapons locked on Earth, their engines shaking the void. The Directive pulsed with light, preparing for the final decision. The ancients waited, their voices like gods. "Choose now, child of Earth, surrender or be erased." Daniel clenched his fists, sweat dripping down his face. For a moment, he saw the faces of civilians, soldiers, and children across the world. They looked not to the ancients, not to the commanders, but to him. The weight of humanity itself rested on his shoulders, and just as he opened his mouth to answer, the Directive's voice boomed one last time. Stage 4. Awakening complete. The lights across the solar system flared bright, every ship, every satellite, every weapon trembling, as if the universe itself was holding its breath. The solar system glowed with unnatural light. The Directive had reached its final stage. Stage 4 was no longer about defense, it was about judgment. Every ship, every planet, every soul was now under its gaze. The first Earthborn stood tall across the holograms, their eyes burning like fire. "You must choose," they declared. "Surrender to our rule, or perish as forgotten children." Daniel's chest tightened. The weight of Earth pressed down on his shoulders like a mountain. He was not a commander, not a hero, just a young officer who stumbled on a forgotten file. And yet, fate had placed humanity's future in his hands. The commander's voice thundered in his ear. "Stand firm, boy. We will not bow." But Colonel Vera hissed with venom, "Kneel, or you will destroy us all." Daniel closed his eyes. He remembered the burning alien fleets, the fear in his people's faces, the children crying under falling skies. He remembered the words of the ancients, cold and merciless, and he knew one truth: freedom could not be traded, not even for survival. He lifted his head and spoke with a steady voice. "We are not your child. Ren, we are not your slaves. We are the new Earth, and we will never kneel." The holograms of the ancients froze. For the first time, their cold eyes flickered with something unexpected. Surprise. The Directive trembled, lights flaring across every system. "Conflict of command detected," it announced. "New parameters established. Earth chooses independence." The first Earthborn roared in fury. "You dare defy us." Their voices shook the stars. Their fleet charged weapons, entire planets shaking under the pressure. But Earth's people rose together. Commanders shouted orders, fleets scrambled, civilians prayed and fought, even broken satellites, even ruined stations reactivated under Daniel's command. The Directive shifted, torn between its ancient creators and the new humanity it had scanned. Daniel's console burned with light. Directive override accepted. New primary authority, human race, present generation. The entire command center gasped. The Directive itself had chosen. It would no longer serve the ancients. It would serve the living. The skies erupted with war. The ancient fleet unleashed storms of energy, their beams tearing through space like divine wrath. But the Directive's weapons turned against them. Satellites firing, hidden stations awakening. For the first time in history, modern humans and the ancient system fought side by side, a battle not for survival, but for the right to exist. Ships collided, stars trembled, the void screamed with fire. The ancients fought like gods, but humanity fought like survivors. Every shot, every sacrifice carried the weight of Earth's spirit. Daniel shouted commands, his voice echoing across every channel. "Stand together, fight for Earth," the commander roared. "For humanity." At last, the Directive unleashed its final weapon. A massive surge of energy rippled from Earth itself, a wave of light brighter than the sun. Ancient ships cracked apart, their glowing hulls shattering. The first Earthborn screamed as their power turned to dust. Their last words echoed in rage. "This is not the end, children. We will return." Then silence. The skies cleared, wreckage drifting across the void. Earth still stood, battered but unbroken. Inside the command center, officers wept, some in joy, some in exhaustion. The commander placed a hand on Daniel's shoulder. "You saved us, lad. You saved all of us." But Daniel only stared at the stars. He knew the battle was won, but the war was not over. Somewhere, the first Earthborn still lived, and one day they would return. But until that day, Earth had earned its place, not as children, not as subjects, but as a people who defied gods and survived.